Yes, people, hello and welcome. Today I want to do a review on Battle Royale 2 Requiem. This is from 2003, so we're 2 years or 3 years out from the original film, and we have some recurring characters and a whole bunch of new people. So I believe the same man directed this film. Wait, so you got a Fukusaku film. Let me just look at the original. Gosh, it's all in Japanese. Well, okay, well, if it isn't the same man, I'm very mistaken, but based on what we see in this film depicted, it really hammers home the message of the first film and goes even deeper with this one with like speeches from the characters. So I think it's the same guy. Yes, so Battle Royale 2, not as good as the first one in terms of like substantial sort of like graphic nature and story and like having meaning behind everything that's happening. This one obviously ups the ante with like action, explosiveness, because like, you know, they still have the collars around their necks and they go boom quite a lot. A lot of blood splatter. Be prepared for that. I loved it all. There's lots of fighting in this film. A lot of it is just for fighting's sake, just for sequel sake. A lot of it is, you know, yeah, like I said, a lot of it doesn't have the heart because we're not. There's lots of times when they're fighting and we're not really invested in the characters, so it's just for sort of entertainment sake. But as we go on, really into that last, you know, the last, I don't know, 25 minutes is when we've settled into who we're following. We meet Nanohara again. The lad from the first film, he's now like a rebel and he's being hunted down by like the governments and whatnot. And he's deemed a terrorist because he's launched attacks across the world. And he's gone on his own adventure. And there's some really like, I was not expecting this, but there's like some really like sort of documentary style footage of like Afghanistan, I think like the US, loads of these countries where like we're just sort of touring these places and looking at like poverty and whatnot and devastation and just sort of life that sort of a lot of us are not used to sort of experiencing. And it sort of justifies and sort of amplifies the message of what the director wants to say and what Nanohara is fighting for, you know. That like the grown-ups, the adults who are in charge are sort of not, they're showing more evil than love and care and compassion than what he would thinks that humanity should do. So again, I'm not sure. Yeah, so the first one was an 18. This one was is an 18, and like I said, it doesn't. It goes further on the bloodshedding, which if you know it works. Like I said, it just doesn't have the heart of the first one. There's this sort of like bluish purple filter at the beginning of it, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think that's like just to sort of establish the time of day. It's very early when these kids have been captured and taken from their homes and then put into these games. So I think that's just to establish that, because I think they did that in the first one. It's a bit jarring, but if I'm right and it's just to establish the time of day, then it's okay. One thing I really like about this film, that's another unique aspect, is like a lot of like the warfare in this film is like very like realistic. Like all the sets are sort of like there's timed explosives going on. All the kids, I don't know how old the actors are. I'm sure they're not kids, of course, but like they're all sort of like really in amongst this battlefield, on the beaches, in the undergrowth, in the forest areas, in the huts. Like explosions are going on. It's really great to see real life practical things going on. As long as nobody was hurt, it's wonderful to see. Because a lot of that is going away from films. Yes, so let's have a look at the notes. So whereas in the first one we had the teacher who was is like the big bad of the film. He's sort of telling the kids what they're about to do. And the games have changed this time. But this new guy is very hammy. He's the Japanese do tend to do this sometimes with their characters, and it might work for their audience, but for me it's laughable, and he looks like he doesn't come across as menacing at all. He's actually, yeah, it's quite pathetic. The faces he pulls and whatnot. But the Japanese audience might relate more to that, but I don't. like I said, the games have changed. So yes, Battle Royale has evolved, and a bit like, like the Hunger Games. I'm going back to that sort of comparison. One glaring criticism I had of the Hunger Games is I really like being in the Hunger Games. I like, the people battling it out and seeing how that will unfold and all the action that, arises there. And then the sequels never really went back to Battle Royale. They had it, they did have that great moment with the new kid and they're all running away from the water in the beginning. But like, I really want to be in the Battle Royale setting. And so at least this film does have Battle Royale. Like, they do have to kill each other. But it's changed, it's evolved. It's not putting students on the island to fight each other till there's one left. They're put into two teams and they're tasked with finding Nanahara, the rebel from the first film, and they must kill him, or otherwise they all just die. And their collars are tagged to like partners. So if one partner is about to die or does something wrong, then the other one will die. So there's stakes there, but it doesn't really affect. You're not invested at the beginning, like the first half of the film, because people are dying when you don't really care about. At least you've got the practical blood splatters and whatnot. So that keeps you entertained. But like I said, with the heart, it's not there. So yeah, like I said, the environment with the practical effects, the environment is really cool because it really feels like these kids are like in danger. Um, yeah, and there's so many new characters that you can't really invest in, and but you have to just wait, sit with the film for like three quarters of an hour, then you find out who you're really, or halfway through the film, you find out who you're sort of who you're gonna root for and who's gonna sort of want to team up with Nanahara or still want to kill him, and then you establish who's the villains and who's the protagonists. And it just sort of goes to show that like Nanahara, the director wanted to, is showing that Nanahara is sort of this like it's a bit like in Frank Herbert's Dune, um, like the main character, like in Nanahara, he sort of like inspires everyone. And if he can inspire these group of kids on this island that were once told to kill him to save their own lives, to save their own skins, if he can turn all them on his side, what can he do with the whole world? So it's really getting that message across that like this generation of youth can make a difference, and they don't have to follow the same patterns as their predecessors. We don't get the girl though, I don't think. The girl from the last film, I don't think she's in it. She gets, or maybe she appears at the very end. I'm not sure. She's sort of like written out. I think, could be wrong. Um, yeah, what's interesting about this film as well, like whereas in the previous film, the adults there was no redeeming features. In this film there was a redeeming feature of an adult at the end. He sort of like saves the group. And that was just bizarre because I just throughout this whole like the two films, you just don't think the adults are going to be painted in any good light. But like finally, this particular character was, and that was quite heroic. That was nice to see. Yeah, there's a few moments of like typical Japanese humor, which usually I like, just not with some of those villains. Um, like I said, the point of the film is made more apparent by speeches, mainly by Nanahara. Um, yeah, so I did enjoy must say I did enjoy the original, but I did enjoy this, and I certainly would. I'll probably do another double bill in the future of these two. There was one particular scene, really graphic scene of like this lad. It's quite early on in the film. I won't even describe it, just so it's shocking to you guys. But like, just a great little shocking imagery of like the violence that is about to ensue. Um, and yeah, I didn't know what to expect because I'd heard some negative things about this film. Thankfully, I did enjoy it. I got more out of number one. I hope you guys can check out Battle Royale 1 and 2 and see what you guys think. Thank you.